Mirror, mirror on the wall. You say when you're staring into the mirror, looking at yourself. Peterson, in his recent breakdown of Snow White's story, goes into detail saying that looking in the mirror is the act of self-consciousness. That when you recognize yourself in the mirror, so therefore you become self-conscious. The issue with self-consciousness, he says, is that it's associated with negative emotion. And that self-consciousness and negative emotion are statistically indistinguishable. So being self-conscious will lead you to negative emotion. And neuroticism is one of the 5 traits. And it's a personality trait characterized by a tendency to experience negative emotions like anxiety, sadness, and anger. So it's one of the big 5, and people who are high in neuroticism are more prone to emotional instability and challenging managing their emotions, especially during stressful situations. And being self-conscious is tightly associated with the trait of neuroticism. So linking that back to the Snow White story, so it says that the evil queen is looking in the mirror. That's really one of the reasons why she is the evil queen, because she's looking in the mirror, and therefore she, by looking in the mirror and being self-conscious and caring about herself as seen as herself, so then she has all these negative traits, and then it leads down to bitterness and anger and desire to kill her daughter and all these types of things. Now the question is why is this true? Why is focusing on yourself and thinking about yourself so negative? Now, people like to cause other people pain by going and saying, how are you? Because when you would say, how are you, you are focusing on the person. They say, how are you? Who? Tell me about yourself. Focus on yourself. Now, as a Jew living in the world, and we've talked about this on multiple times, is that really you're an infinite being having a finite experience, so that you have one foot in infinity and one foot in infinity. And that was the splitting of the sea, that you have to go through the sea first because of the land and the water at the same time. Spoken about before. So there's 2 ways to have this experience. One is I'm infinite having a finite experience, or you're finite looking at infinity. But when you do that, if the basis is finiteness, so therefore you'll take the infinity and make it finite. You'll use the Torah to make me feel good about myself. I am a big Talmid Chacham. I'm using God, I'm using Torah for my finite benefits. Whereas if it's the other way, so therefore you have the infinity starting, so therefore you can integrate the infinity into infinity. It's an entirely different experience. So therefore when you step out of that, when you're in the flow, you're in the sea, you're in the infinity. So you step out of that and you bring yourself, you focus on yourself, and you see yourself as a being that's a finite being, so therefore you become depressed. You're living as before you looking at yourself. So therefore you're having that infinite experience, and you're in the flow, you're focusing on the present, you're focusing on the moment. Just let go, stop trying to control things. And then you're brought into look in the mirror and see yourself, reflect on yourself, who were you? So now you become a finite being. That finiteness then will make you depressed, because you've gone from infinity to finiteness, and so what am I doing here? So that will bring you to the negative emotions. So therefore when you say to somebody, how are you? You're trying to drag them down from their infinity into the finite. Focus on yourself. Stop being in the flow. Stop being in infinity. Stop having that relationship with God. Come out of that. Become depressed. Focus on yourself as a finite being, out of the flow. And how you right here, right now. Let's take your makom. Let's take your place, your time, and then describe it. So then the person becomes naturally depressed with that, and it's really not a nice thing to do. How cruel to say, how are you, to somebody.